Good afternoon and welcome to A Different Kind of Woman. And today I'm very, very excited about today's topic because it's one that I think the more mature woman is quite excited that we're talking about and the younger woman may be a bit curious about. It's a topic where the Victorians thought, this kind of stage of a woman's life drove women completely mad. And the early Greeks believed it could be cured by applying leeches. It's of course the menopause. Now, what a great show we're going to have ahead for you. But let's see what's coming up next. Okay, so today we're talking about menopause and I'm your host Shireen, but I'm not alone in the studio, not at all. I have with me the delightful Diane.
Hi.
The gorgeous Gemma.
Hello.
And bride to be.
Yeah.
Had to throw that one in. Had to. 7 months to go.
I know. I'm not stressed, so it's good.
Not stressed, keep it that way, Gem. And of course the very vivacious Farina.
Hi.
Oh, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Shireen.
It's been very long.
So the menopause, what's your first thoughts about this topic?
Sweating.
I've got one
Sorry?
word.
Sweating. I always think sweating when I think of
Charming.
Nightmare.
Nightmare.
Is
so
my word.
sweaty,
Hot flashes.
flashes, nightmare, and die.
Hot flashes.
Hot
I'm with
flashes.
Jen. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's all so negative.
Is there anything positive about the menopause?
Well, you're not going to have periods anymore. I'm quite excited about that.
Well, I was excited about that until it happened to me.
Okay, hold that thought.
I would die.
All right, okay, guys, you're going to be sharing your views throughout the show. But first of all, let's see what happened when Jennifer Long took to the streets and asked them about the menopause.
Would you consider taking hormone replacement therapy?
No, I wouldn't. I think I've heard too many negative things about HRT to play around with my own chemistry.
I think I would. The amount of research that they do prior to the therapies even being available, I feel are so vast, and if I can in any way improve maybe my own or other people's situations to be part of that therapy, if it's available and it's researched properly, I'd be more than happy to, yeah.
If it's something that, I don't know, it can make you continue as you are kind of thing, it won't affect you too much. It's something you probably benefit from rather than lose out from.
And do you think that a woman's hormones affects them at the workplace?
Possibly, but I think that there are natural things that you can do along with exercise and good diet, lots of water to help you.
So not necessarily?
So not necessarily. I think there's lots of advice out there that young people would benefit from.
I think they can do, yes. Well, I guess we all go through a bit of whether it's pain or something like that, and whether you want to see the hormones affecting you physically or mentally, I think it's a personal issue there as well. But personally, sometimes I feel it does affect me, but I don't think it does to the extent where it would affect my work. So I think that's a very, I guess, sensitive question for a woman. But at times, if it's serious, then yes. But at others, normal, not really. I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just because in stressful situations, I guess it'd make you more stressed, that kind of thing. So everything's heightened a bit more.
And if you could set an age limit for adopting children, would you?
Yeah, if the parents become for men and women as a couple, you want to give your children the best possible life. And if you're if you're going through a lot of changes, body changes and that kind of thing, I don't know if it's stable for your children.
So you would set an age limit?
Yeah.
Because we come in all shapes and sizes, philosophies, and some people are old when they're young and some people are young when they're old.
Depends on if you want to see how far somebody's menopause can go. That's another question of, will you criticise a woman whose menopause doesn't start early, and meaning she can't then have children? But I think it will affect somebody in old age having to raise a toddler. So I can't state an age personally, but I feel if somebody is older and they have to think of being incapacitated in their late 60s and they're having a 10-year-old child, that can set a bit of a, I guess, negative downfall on the raising of the child, and for somebody's issues and us as a society to then have to make up for that side of things with childcare.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for that. I know there was a lot of giggles in the studio, a lot of nodding, going on a lot, especially from you, Verena. What was you saying? You're having a bit of a hot flash at the moment?
At the moment, yes.
Oh my days, tell us about your menopausal experience. And
Just because the temperature's high in the studio.
Well, I guarantee you, Gemma, it isn't. I think it's the worst, for me, this is the worst time of my life.
oh my days.
It is actually a nightmare. You know, I can't begin to explain how I feel at times. It's just, I've lost my memory. I've got witnesses here.
Just stop giggling. This is very serious.
I leave my bedroom and go out, and I'm going to the kitchen to do something. And when I get there, oops, I've forgotten. Oh, what did I go to the kitchen to do? I can't remember, you know. And it's just been like this. I forget everything. I've got a diary, and I write everything down on my diary.
Yes.
And then I end up forgetting my diary.
Or the worst one is she can't read the diary because she hasn't got glasses, and then she's looking for the glasses everywhere, and then, oh, here it is. But I don't know if this is...
So you don't believe it's down to the menopause?
It is, you know what, it really changes you. I mean, I feel like I've lost my identity as a woman.
Wow.
That's how.
That's very powerful, because I know that Verena was anticipating the menopausal stage.
Yeah.
So she was really looking forward to it. So to hear you speak like this now is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yes, because all I was thinking of, I won't be having any periods anymore.
Well, that's my thought.
Yeah, think about the money I'll save in buying
that.
you know, sanitary towels, all of that stuff. And I was really looking forward to not having to deal with these monthly issues anymore.
Yes.
But then, now I said to myself, oh my gosh, I wish I had my periods again.
Wow.
You know?
Okay, Verena, we're going to go deeper into your story and also menopause in general. I've got our famous red and green card game, first of all. So you just hold that note there, Verena, because you know you're already making me emotional, and it's too early for me to have tears at the beginning of the show. So now, for you that don't know about it, we have our famous DKW red and green card game. I'm going to ask them just a series of questions, probably just two. And if you agree with it, you basically put up your green card. If you disagree, you put up your red card to say no. And then I'll randomly ask our lovely darlings in the studio why they've decided to opt for that question, for that answer. So are you ladies ready?
We're ready.
Yes.
Ready to
All right,
go.
first question. Do you think, women feel less attractive when they are no longer fertile? If you think yes, green. If you think no, red. Ooh. Okay, Di says green, Gemma says green, and Verena, you said no. Very interesting. Okay, let's go for Di. Di, why do you think yes?
I think yes because I'm at a stage where I'm on borderline. And I think because I want a child, I think if I wasn't fertile, I haven't achieved that, what I'm meant to achieve, and I would feel less attractive, not less of a woman. I can't say I feel less of a woman, but it would be something that was missing kind of thing. So that's why I say yes, because I'm at that stage right now where I'm, yeah.
Okay, nice. Gemma, what about you?
I think you always want what you can't have.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I've decided that I don't want children.
Yes.
So I don't feel like I am less attractive, but that's because that's a decision I made. If I was infertile, I probably would want children. And I kind of know that about myself, because when the decision's taken away from you, it's like you don't feel...
And it's not taken away from me, but that's how I'm feeling at the moment, like something I need to do. I need to do
she's
this.
gotta do this,
And I have to do it within a certain amount of time because of my age at the moment. I know I look really young, but...
It's society, because when I tell people that I don't want to have children, for instance, not that they make me feel less of a woman, because I think I'm quite a strong character, but they do say, oh, you'll change. No, like, what's your life going to be? Just you and your husband. Like, what else are you going to add to the world? And they do make you feel terrible, like that you're not going to have kids. And I think, no, I genuinely don't want children, but a lot of people won't accept that. And I think that's what can make people feel like, oh, maybe I haven't conquered in life, or maybe I haven't done what I was supposed to. Is it just going to be me and my husband forever? And then
they make you feel less attractive.
and then my legacy won't live on or whatever. And you know, for me, that means nothing to me. I couldn't care less. But people do make me feel that way.
Whew, well, we've got to go for a break, but first of all, we need to hear from Verena. You said no, big fat no. Why?
Well, it's personal to me because I think personally I had to say no for myself because I know fertility is not on my agenda. I've come to the point where at my age I don't really care about fertility because, you know, I've had my children, I've contributed to the world population. So,
you would feel different. I bet you any money. Say you were at this age or even younger. Say you were younger and you hadn't had kids or you hadn't had the chance to have kids, I bet you'd feel differently.
Well, it's a personal thing because then, like you, I mean, you don't feel less attractive because you don't want to have children.
Yeah.
You have made that decision. There are women who do want to have children, they can't have children. I can understand if this may have a detrimental effect on them. I do understand that. But if you take the stance as a woman, I am who I am, and I don't need to be a certain way or to be able to produce eggs or for me to be attractive, then that's the stance that you should take.
Also, I reckon I will be more attractive because the money that I would have spent on the kids, I'm going to spend it on spa breaks, I'm going to spend it on treatment.
You're just ever so positive. You are ever so positive. But there are, of course, women that will completely disagree with you and will be like, do you know what? No, I feel like I've lost my woman. The thing that made me womanly was the fact that I could have children.
Yeah, because it's unique to women. Men can't have kids.
Thing to women.
Men can't have kids.
And I do understand if some women might feel that way, but I say to them, there is no need to. Because this is just a small part of who you are.
It's really difficult because if you, like, I go back to not being able to being infertile. Like, there's one thing to say, I'm going to take contraception, what have you. But if that choice is not made for you, like you see people going for IVF treatments, doing whatever they can to have kids, because for them it is a dream. And you know, I would never disrespect someone or never sort of impose my opinion on them because I think that it is your right, and I think it's a beautiful thing to be a mother.
Well, Verena, of course, you are attractive. You've had 5 massive grown kids, and you know you're still looking fabulous. So you can say that very well.
Yeah, I can definitely see how people would feel unattractive.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much, ladies, for your feedback. Now, coming up after the break, we are very, very excited because we're going to have for the first time ever a professor joining us to DKW, our first professor of many, I hope. And he is basically he's received so many awards and has a lifetime working around this topic of menopause. So if you need to know anything about it, please stick with us. You're going to know everything there is to know after this break.
My name is Dan from South London, 28, and I'm still single.
You're fighting for a career, you're fighting for different things in your life, you can travel, and then, you know, maybe they just feel like actually a relationship's not for me.
What the fashion is today is for you to be single and for you to live life and be happy and have many partners. I think marriage is a good thing, but I'm talking about on a global perspective.
Because he hasn't got that right person by his side, that he can't get to his full potential anyway. Right.
Welcome back, and today we're talking about the menopause, and I'm very excited to have in this studio Professor John Studd, who's going to be telling us a bit more about and educating us on this topic. So please welcome to the show, and please tell us a bit about yourself. Why did you get into menopausal studies?
Well, it's a transition, really. I started off as a trained gynecologist, obstetrician, and you move on from whatever you were doing, sort of research, surgery, endocrinology, infertility, and it blends into the menopause as well. And the main reason is that, when I started the first menopause clinic in Europe about 40 years ago,
yes,
I did that because I was teaching, like everybody else, that menopause is normal, natural, and doesn't need therapy, and all that you women need is some tranquilizers and a nice husband, and everything will be fine. Well, I was teaching that to students, and I didn't believe what I was teaching them. So then I thought more about it, and I started this clinic, and the results were astonishing. That these women with a host of symptoms could be cured with very simple therapy, which has now become very fashionable, of course, with HRT.
Yes.
And it works.
Wow.
But you've said it so beautifully, but I know that you came up, with a lot of objection and a lot of protest against, because this was very, very new at the time when you started it. And how did you feel about that?
Well, sure, it was closed down by
your
the
clinic
BMA
was
in
closed
Birmingham
down.
because of protests from the GPs. And they went through a process of permission and so on, and writing, and then they started again. In a way, I can understand it 40 years ago, when it was very new. I can't understand it now. That's the problem, because the data is overwhelming.
Indeed.
That it helps all the symptoms we're talking about, and depression, prevents osteoporosis, and the side effects are not there. The side effects are not there. And we'll discuss this no doubt later.
Yes.
So it's difficult now to understand why GPs are reluctant to give HRT.
Yes.
And they'll give antidepressants instead. More condemning are psychiatrists who don't recognise the hormonal component in depression in women, the premenstrual, the postnatal, the menopausal. It's all hormonal. It's an endocrine problem.
Wow.
And yet psychiatrists who deal fundamentally with depression would never think of giving estrogens in spite of all the protestations and the research that we've done and so on. So they've got to be educated. It's the psychiatrists, the GPs, and also women have got to be well informed that it's helpful and it's safe.
Yeah. Professor, I want to ask a question. You hear so much about HRT causing cancer.
Sure.
Herbal remedies are dangerous. What could we be? Are these scare tactics? What should we be doing?
Well, there was a very famous study in 2002 from America, and it was the worst study in the world. It cost more than $1 billion over 10 years. And they used the wrong drugs, the wrong dose, the wrong patient, the wrong conclusions, looked at the wrong age range. And they showed that it caused more heart attacks, more strokes, more breast cancer, etc. We know all those to be wrong now. And even the authors of this rotten study are queuing up to apologise for the mistakes they've made, because they reckon that it has prevented about 10 million, 20 million baby boomer women in America having the symptomatic relief from hormones and the preventive medicine aspect of hormones, that's particularly osteoporosis and depression.
Wow. I want to find out from you, Professor, what are the early signs of menopause? Like, what could we be looking out for to know that it's coming our way?
Well, the classical signs are flushes and sweats, vaginal dryness, difficult intercourse, loss of libido, though there are many causes of that, of course.
Indeed. That's a subject for another day.
Another day, sure. They're the main things, but it's important to realise that the worst symptoms of the menopause occur in the 3 to 4 years before the periods stop. That's fundamental to appreciate. It's not just the menopause when the periods stop. It's 3 or 4 years before that, what we call the menopausal transition, when the symptoms we're talking about are at their most severe. And of course, the woman's is not menopausal, so nobody twigs that it's hormonal.
I see.
So then they're given antidepressants and tranquilizers and worse.
Gosh.
Wow. So what sort of symptoms are there? So it's a hot flush. So before this transition period, so what would it be? Depression?
Yes,
crying all the time?
it's depression, loss of energy, loss of memory. Women complain of a brain fog.
So it is
How are we
true
doing?
what you're saying.
Brain fog.
Brain
yeah.
fog.
And so you can't concentrate on your work, and you're miserable, and so on.
Can I just ask, how do you know that you're not a grump? Because Diane, who was here on the first, she's going through all of this. How does she know she's just not a grumpy person?
Could be that as well. It could be that as well. And of course, hormone therapy will not treat a personality problem or a rotten marriage or whatever, or leaking roof or no money. But it will cure these things related to the menopause. And you'll soon find out after a month of therapy, you will be much better or not. Doesn't take long.
Wow.
Takes about a month.
Wow.
Gosh,
Sometimes
how do
2
you
or
feel
3
about
days.
hearing all of this?
Amazing.
Well, I think I'm listening to him, and then I'm thinking, well, I think different women go through the menopause in different ways.
True.
And maybe different stages, some earlier, some later. Because for me, I think I never went through any pre-menopausal symptoms as such. I feel as if I was just, for me, it was like a big bang, and all was happening at once. And that's what makes it quite difficult for me to handle, because all of a sudden it's like waking up one day and you have all these different things going on and you're not sure how to handle it, and you feel lost within what's happening. And it is very difficult, because I have been to my GP several times, and she said, yes, you're going through the menopause, and and that was it really. I know you're going through the menopause, and this is how it should be, and nothing was offered to me. And I feel alone. I feel I can talk to people about it. I can talk to my family. I could say, this is what's happening. I have a manager at work who's very understanding. Sometimes I can't actually make it into work because I'm simply too tired to get out of my bed. And she understands that, because she's gone through the menopause. But the problem that I have, dealing with men and trying to get men to understand, this is what I'm going through, I'm not faking this, it's happening to me. That's my frustration, because
I think you'll often find that men are more understanding than women. And you went to your female GP, right? I mean, and I think the male GPs are much more understanding about the menopause than younger female GPs who don't have the problem yet.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Oh, I like that.
That, so this is my mum, in case you didn't know. And I wanted to ask the question, she's now going through the menopause in her early, I'll leave it, question mark. And I wanted to know if it's hereditary, if I would also probably go through the menopause around the same time so I can prepare myself.
There's a slight sort of tendency that women with an early menopause have kids with an early menopause. A slight, but it's not much.
So it could just happen at any...
No,
what would you say is the kind of the age group where it kind of starts?
Well, the average age of the menopause, no periods, is 51.
51, okay.
That's the average age of no periods.
Okay.
But I stress again that the symptoms start before that.
Right.
45 or whatever.
Wow. What would you say are the main concerns for women going through the menopause? Are there any concerns?
Well, the concerns are whether the treatment is safe. I mean, that's the main concern. I think they know that it works, but is it safe?
Yes.
And all the evidence now, particularly using transdermal hormones, not oral hormones, if you take oral estrogens, whether it's the pill or HRT, there's a slight increased risk of deep vein thrombosis and perhaps even pulmonary embolus. But if you use transdermal hormones, and that's patch or better still the gels, if you use estrogen gels, I mean that's human estradiol, not this horse rubbish that is often used. Human estradiol gels through the skin. It's the same as having your own hormones, the same as having your own endogenous hormones.
Yes.
And that really no side effects. just benefits.
Wow.
And if you have transdermal hormones, there's no increased risk of heart attacks, but there's decreased heart attacks, fewer cardiac deaths, less osteoporosis, less depression, whatever, less breast cancer. And then these women on transdermal estrogens can stay on this therapy forever.
Wow.
Right? Not 3 years or 5 years. It is safe because they're your own endogenous hormones. Stay with it.
Can I just ask, is there anything that we can do? So for me now, I'm in my late 20s. Is there anything that I can do, whether through diet, exercise, that can make my menopausal experience better?
No.
Okay.
At
least we know.
But exercise is good for your weight, your brain, your energy, all sorts of things. A good diet is fabulous. It's very important.
Yes.
It'll have a great effect on your general health the next 20 years. It doesn't help the menopause coming or the symptoms after the menopause.
Gosh.
Goodness me.
We've got all that to look forward to, don't we?
But it's treatable.
It's treatable.
All these
That's the
symptoms
most
are
important thing.
treatable now.
Yes. Okay.
Safely.
If the person, like for example, if there is a woman going through menopause and she doesn't want to go through any of these treatments, what naturally would, how long would it naturally take to kind of get over this period?
Well, it can take a long time.
Really?
It took my mother 18 years before.
18 years?
Before her clever son recognised it.
Very clever son. Is that what helped you to specialise in this area then?
Your experience of your mother.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What were your last thoughts? And Professor, I mean, we're now going to go to a break, but what are your last thoughts that you'd like to leave with us and those who are watching?
Well, last thought is just to educate women and doctors that the menopause is common and it causes a whole lot of problems, and it's very treatable with safe HRT, preferably through the transdermal route, gels or patches.
Wonderful. Professor, thank you so much
My
for coming
pleasure.
on. It's been
Nice
wonderful
meeting
having
you all.
you.
Lovely meeting you.
Lovely. And does that make you feel a lot better, Verena, knowing you've got those options ahead of you?
I have tried to explore the options that he's spoken about, but we'll leave that for later on.
Okay. It's also given me, I must say, it's given me a wider vision regarding menopause.
Me too.
I was being quite negative about it before, but having spoken to you, I do feel like, I do have options, and I think this is very important.
I think that's what women need to know. Can I just ask you quickly, because I know we've got to go to break, what is the British Menopause Society?
Well, it's a society of people interested in the menopause, and its function is to educate each other and the public. You can all join up. The British Menopause Society will be on the website. I've forgotten the address.
Yeah.
We'll place it on DKW website afterwards.
Sure.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much again, Professor. Wonderful having you.
Thank
you
you.
very
Thank
much. Okay, so we're going to a break now, but still stick with us, because although we can't get rid of menopause, we can find creative ways to cope with it, and we'll be talking about that afterwards. Stay tuned. Welcome back to DKW. And just before the break, we were speaking to Professor John Studd, weren't we, Gemma?
We were.
Who, gave us lots and lots of advice. Very, very helpful. It was fantastic having him on.
Definitely.
But he also made us understand that we are not going to skip this stage.
Definitely. I think it's really important because although we're really young and people are probably looking at us and thinking, do you know what, you're too young for the menopause, we're all going to go through it. So we should educate ourselves about it.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's like I was saying before, it was something that I was a bit worried. Remember I used to say, I hope that I die before that time. Because, our mother shared her experience with us and I think I just don't want to go there.
Yeah.
But now I'm feeling a bit more positive about it, knowing that there are options out there and things that we can do.
Definitely.
And in this section, we're just going to be exploring some creative ways that we can cope with the menopause, because we can't eradicate it, right?
Definitely.
So let's start then, Gemma. Are the viewers ready for us? Let's see. So know the stages of menopause. So you need to know what you should expect. And the professor was explaining to us there's 3 main stages.
Yes.
So we've got the premenopause. And that's when our periods start to become really irregular.
Yes.
And I know for us women that's quite frightening.
It is, because that is very important, because a lot of people think of the menopause as just one stage in their life, maybe a period of their time, and then you think, my period's not coming, or is it coming? And even when you're younger, that's quite scary, right?
It is.
So people should understand that this is part of the phase and know what to do about it.
And that's just a stage you need to go through, but it's a good hint that it's on its way, which is also quite nice.
Definitely.
Then you've got the perimenopause. That's when you start having these hot flushes that we hear about. When you think of menopause, you think of hot flush, like you were saying at the beginning of the show.
Definitely. And it's funny because on average, and I think people need to know ages as well, because the professor, I don't know if he said it on camera, he said that premenopause can start from 44, 45.
Yeah.
So this stage, actually, with the hot flushes, etc., the average age is usually 47. So if you're 47 or around about that, and you're getting really sweaty, it might not be the temperature. It could
might be this. It's on its way. And then you have different things as well that happen to you. You were saying the sweating, the racing heartbeat, even headaches, and loss of memory.
Yes.
So this is all the kind of peri stage, and then you go into the actual menopause itself.
Before we go into the menopause, I'd like to say, because another symptom is actually trouble sleeping. Now, if you actually look at these symptoms, they're actually really quite scary.
They are scary.
And sometimes what I find with women is that they'll go through something, whether they've got insomnia or if they've got memory loss, or they've got trouble sleeping. They think, I don't want to share it with somebody.
Yeah.
What are people going to say? What are people going to think?
Indeed.
And I think that we need to be confident, and this is why we're doing this show, so that people can understand that they can get help, that they should go to their GP or talk to other women about it, because they could be going through it as well. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
I think it is liberating, isn't it, Gemma? It is liberating because, even through this show, which is kind of a sensitive topic, it's this kind of topic that, you do feel a bit embarrassed about sometimes. Yeah. And it's not a very nice stage to go through, which we've understood.
Of course.
But talking about it makes it kind of feel acceptable.
Definitely.
It kind of is equipping us for the future.
Yes, of
I like
course,
that.
of course.
So the menopause, what exactly is the menopause?
So that's the first year that you haven't had any periods. Now it's so funny because, those who have terrible periods, like I'm one of them, I have a lot of period pain. And, there was a question at the top of the show about does it affect you at work? And I was like, yes, hormonal issues do affect you at work and your stress levels. But this is actually your periods cease. Yeah. So that's what people need to know about this stage. And that is the actual
And then our professor was also telling us that it's normally around 51 when it actually does happen. No more periods. And therefore, as Verena was saying throughout the break, no more children.
Yes.
So that's it. Yeah. So that's kind of like a full stop.
I can't talk about this too much because obviously I've not gone through it, but it actually feels a little bit sad to me.
It does.
Does it feel like that to you?
It does feel quite sad. It kind of feels like, look at what I'm supposed to be helping you guys with tips.
We're supposed to be helping, because it's like I was saying, if no periods and no kids, and if you've had children and if you've done it, then fine.
Yes.
But say you've only had one child, or you're thinking about having another, and then it ceases. And it's funny because periods have been a part of my life since I was 11.
Yeah.
So then for it to stop, I'd probably rejoice, but then also think, oh, okay.
Where is it now? What's happened to it? But
Yeah.
it's beautiful. I think it's a nice celebration. It's a kind of a natural celebration to say, do you know what? You're maturing to another level now.
Definitely.
You've given your dues. It's all about you now.
Yes.
Your body's kind of going. I'd just like to see that your body's just, transitioning itself so that you can be your own woman now.
Definitely.
It's like
time
you've
to
given
blossom.
life. It's time to blossom and do your own thing.
Definitely. Love that.
Next tip. Learn how to cope with hot flushes. Can we cope with them really?
Well, actually, what people need to know, which I'm reading here because it's not from my own knowledge, it says hot flashes are the body's responses to lowered estrogen levels. It's a temporary dysfunction in the temperature regulating portion of the brain until the body gets used to the missed estrogen. So I think, you know, they say it lasts about 2 to 3 minutes, and it's saying that basically you feel extremely hot through your face and through your actual body. And some people actually get really red in the face, so it can be quite embarrassing, you know, when you're in public, etc. But, you know, they say it usually returns to normal within 30 minutes. For me, that is quite a long period of time.
That is a long time. It's like forever. It's like a whole lunch break for some people.
It does. For some people, they do feel, oh, are people watching me, etc. But I think when you're talking about coping mechanisms, I would say to dress lightly.
Dress lightly.
You know, don't, if you know that you're going through this period of your life, then prepare for it. So if it's holding a flannel in your bag because you know that it's going to happen, dressing in lighter layers or layers that you can peel off quite easily. Obviously, you're not going to be on the train and like, you know, pulling off all your clothing, but just prepare for it. You know, if you're somebody that doesn't really like to get sweaty, have antiperspirants with you, because that will make it more manageable. We can't stop it, but we can make it more manageable.
Indeed, natural fibres is also a good way to go, because it keeps you quite cool anyway, even in summer weather. So, you know, with hot flashes, that's also a good way to go. Another good thing to do, Jem, is to keep a diary of your hot flashes, because obviously this is new to you, right?
It's a great idea.
Just like we keep a diary of our periods, especially when we're going on holiday or we want to get married. We kind of see, okay, when is my period likely to come? So that, you know, doesn't destroy my time.
Exactly.
So it's the same kind of thing that we need to do when we're having hot flashes, when we go through the menopause. It's likely that it becomes a regular thing, so you can kind of prepare yourself for it, like you were saying, because you know it's going to come. Keeping a diary is a good way to go.
And also the other thing is avoiding triggers, because apparently alcohol, caffeine, which is a big one for me because I love coffee, and spicy food are triggers. So if you can, try to avoid those things.
Stay away from the coffee.
Stay away from the coffee. It actually says for some women, emotional upset is a trigger. Others may find a hot meal, a warm room, or a warm bed a trigger to the flush. So if you can, obviously in your household, you can keep the temperatures down. Or, you know, if you're at work, we used to always argue about the temperature control. But then, you know, maybe put a mini fan on your desk just to sort of get you through it. So everyone doesn't need to know, oh gosh, she's having a hot flush, what we're going to do. Just have a little mini fan on your desk, put it on, and then keep typing. It'll be fine.
I think keeping positive about it is the most important thing. I mean, if you really go in negative, it's going to be, it's not a very easy experience already, but there are ways that we can cope with it. Another thing, take steps to combat osteoporosis. So I'm going to read this here. There will be a rapid loss of bone in the first 3 to 5 years after menopause. If you don't take enough calcium throughout your life, by midlife, your bone store is already partly empty. Now, this is very, very new to me. Okay, so milk,
I think about,
drinking, you know.
and you know, if you are younger, this is not a program just for women who are 51 or 47. No. You know, this is a program for people who are our age now. Because I actually think about osteoporosis now. And what do? I have a lot of yoga in my diary. You need good sources of calcium. So low-fat milk, tofu, collard greens. You need to look for calcium and add it into your diet now. Because I think that if you're used to doing it now, you can make your bones stronger now. Then later on in life, it will pay dividends.
Oh, definitely. As well as this, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, as we always hear. But these kind of things really do help when it does come to the menopause.
Definitely. It's so much easier when you're used to doing something, because you know what we do. A lot of the time in our younger years, we can take our health for granted.
It's very true.
We bounce back so easily, right?
Yes.
So if we start doing little bits now, then it'll be so much easier at that time of life. And it doesn't mean that if you are going through it now that you shouldn't do it. Well, oh, you know what? I didn't do it when I was younger. Oh well. No, if you actually practice that, you know, eating well, eating right, that's actually going to help you in how you feel.
It's so true.
Because when you eat right, you feel better.
You feel good.
When you exercise, you know, the professor spoke about being depressed and being down. When you exercise, you actually feel much better about yourself.
It wakes something inside of you.
Exactly.
It's true.
And these are things that people can do as well.
Yeah, I like that, Jem. I like what you said. It's all about investment, pulling out the credit afterwards. I think the older life, when after menopause, it is all about you.
Definitely.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Gemma, for these fantastic creative tips. We hope they've helped you, definitely have helped us. And stick with us, because we've got our conclusions, so you won't want to miss this.
My husband died 2007, January 4. And when he died, it was as if my life and the life of my children were completely over. And through the process of grieving and feeling lost and being alone and feeling vulnerable, I got myself involved with a wrong person. So they actually, moved in my house, damaged my house, abused me, abuse my kids, try to turn my children against me. And I just was lying down one day, and they had to call my GP in, and he said to me, "You're lucky to be alive because you just had a partial stroke." And that's when I knew I had to get out of that relationship. Otherwise, my children will end up being an orphan. I've got my sanity back. I've got my self-respect back. I got my dignity back. Although all the money that I lost in the process of being in that relationship, which is literally about £30,000, I still haven't got that back yet. That set me back quite a lot. But because of what I went through, I got a ministry that is very passionate about single parent, encouraging, empowering, equipping, and basically just letting them know that no matter what they're going through, they don't have to go through it alone. If I can do it, you can also do it. You can make up your mind if you want to let your situation keep you in the rut, or find a network support of people who genuinely want to help you, get back up, run with your passion, run with what you've intended to do in the first place, and make something of yourself.
Uplifting. Diverse.
Vibrant. Dynamic.
Powerful. Youthful. Informative.
Energizing.
Passionate.
Motivational. Freedom. Lively.
Excitement.
This is your UCKG timetable. We are open 7 days a week, helping you to make a new beginning. Monday, a meeting focused on achieving more in your financial life. Tuesday, prayers for healing. Wednesday, a meeting teaching you to develop in your spiritual life. Thursday, a special prayer for the family. Friday, a service for your spiritual deliverance. Saturday, Find the One, a service specifically tailored for your love life. Sunday, Reconnect with God, the main meeting for your spiritual strength.
Welcome back, and we're now in our concluding section of speaking about the menopause, and it's been a very exciting show, very, I think, informal show, and I would like to find out from you guys the lessons you've been learning and your contributions to the rest of this topic.
Well, you know, this show has been so eye-opening for me, to be honest with you. It really has, because what I found is that a lot of the symptoms of the menopause are very demoralizing. So, you know, you've got the forgetfulness, you've got the hot flushes, you know, it's basically everything. Even when he was saying, oh, you know, you're going to have a dry vagina and all that urinary, I was just thinking about urine infections and all this stuff. It's everything that you've sort of spent your life avoiding, you know, and everything that society tells you is not right, trouble sleeping, etc. And then in one go, like Verena said, in a big bang, it's like you can have all of these symptoms at once. And so it's really terrible. And what I've found from this show is that speaking about it, speaking to a trained professional, and if you feel like you're not getting the advice, like Verena said that she's not getting, then you can ask to speak to another GP or to get another professional opinion. But I think speaking about it is very freeing, and that's what I've got from this show. Talking about it to other women who are in your age range, you know, educating yourself about it, and talking to professionals to see what help you can get. Because I think when you know there's a solution, freedom comes.
Yeah, very true.
When you know that there's, like for me, I went into this show thinking, oh, you're going to go through all of this and there's no help. You just got to go through it. But now I feel actually more positive about going through it, because I think, okay, I'm going to get the help, and hopefully in the next 20, 30 years when I will go through it, they would have done so much research that we won't even have to go through it.
Oh, I hope so.
It'd be great.
And Diana is laughing in the corner. Diane, why are you giggling?
Because, I mean, I have quite a lot of those symptoms that was discussed here. But even when I have my periods, I have these hot flushes, you know, and I have these sweats now, and I'm not going to look at them as getting me down anymore. I'm going to look at them as power surges now. I'm going to try and look at them on a positive side of things, you know, to make me feel more of a woman. You know, I think people think menopause, you're less of a woman. And I think it's important to, as you said, you know, it's a different stage for us women. You know, I'm laughing at Gemma because she's like, oh, it's going to be so great. And, you know, these symptoms that Verena's having, they are really real.
And you can never prepare yourself to go through this, because prior to this, you know, Gemma and Shireen, they can testify. I've always been a very confident woman. I've always known myself. I've never been a follower. I know who I am. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. This has always been my stance. And to find yourself going through a stage in life where you become very forgetful, you're going through health issues, all different types of health issues, you know, to the point that you even ask yourself, gosh, am I going insane? You know, am I making this up? Is this real? Is this happening to me? You know, and having people to talk to, women who understand, who has gone through this, is very important, because for me, my savior, I would say, has been my manager at work, who's gone through the menopause. And so, you know, turning up at work, sweating, and getting myself all worked up and forgetting what I'm supposed to be doing, forgetting I've got clients to see that day, forgetting my diary at home, you know, I'm wondering, oh, what is my day like? Nobody can tell me because I've left my diary at home. It's something that she understands. And then she said, okay, that's fine, Verena, that's fine. Or if I feel unwell at work, she's able to say, go home and rest. You know, and she knows that I'm not making it up.
You see, this is so important, because it's such a cloudy area, to be honest, with menopause. It's either some people laugh about it, or they just say, get over it, Verena, just get over it, just get over it. You're making a whole thing out of nothing.
You're very lucky to have that kind of manager, because, you know, 99% of the people, they have to stay there and they have to suffer through that day.
This is it. And I think I really want to thank you for coming on and being so open about it, to be honest with you, because it's something that is very personal. It's very personal, although we all are going to go through it, and so many women go through it, but for some reason menopause is kind of like that dirty word, and it is like a taboo that no one wants to talk about.
It is, and one thing I have to say is, because I am a woman of faith, I believe in God, and I'm very settled in my belief, and some of these symptoms have come to shake that belief. It's just so profound that you can't really explain it. You know, some of the things that I have gone through, I've had to run to God and ask, why is this happening? It doesn't make any sense for this to be happening to me at the stage that I'm at now in my relationship with you. So why is this happening? You know, and that was my battle. You know, and having people who are not sympathetic or understanding, it's just
makes it even
more difficult.
To go on from that point, support is so important. And what I would say is, because I'm coping with someone in my household who's got menopause, would be for someone who's not going through it, it's good to understand. It's good to know that, this is what you're going through, because like I said to the professor, is Diane just being a grump, for instance? Whereas, you do think, because it's a lot, it's something that you're not really educated on.
You're not.
You go through so many stages in your life as a woman, if it's pregnancy, if it's periods, etc. But menopause is something that it is a grey area.
Yeah.
But if someone says to you, do you know what, guys, I'm going through this, and sits your kids down, or sits your parents down, or whoever it is that you live with, your housemates, by the way, just to let you know, I'm going through this, so if I am a bit moody, I'm sorry. That doesn't give you a license to be, a right cow or whatever, and to just say, do whatever I want. Everything's the menopause. No, but then people will be more understanding, and then they can support you, which makes your experience so much better.
I think it's going to allow us, what I'm going to take from here is for me to be more assertive with what's going on, that memory loss, those headaches.
It comes to you at the age where you should have known who you are anyway already.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
So that's why I say to the younger people now, you've got to know who you are, build yourself up, become your woman, your own woman, know who you are, take a stance on who you are. So when you come to that age where your whole being is threatened, you can still stand, you can still remain knowing who you are, because mentally you'll be going through this battle of, who am I today? I can't remember who I was yesterday. So who am I today? Am I a different person? How do I behave? What do I do? It's a mental battle.
Sounds like a war.
It's a battlefield of the mind.
Yeah. Sounds like a war.
And that's why I guess if you're weak in your mind, because the thing is that I want to be careful of is some people are, say, in their 40s or whatever age they can be, and they can go through this battlefield. And some people might say, it's premenopause, or it's my hormones, or it's my period, or it's that. It can be all of that, and we're not discounting that. A GP can tell you even further. But some people, they could be going through a terrible time in their life. For example, if you're older and your kids are leaving home, or you're caring with elderly parents. Like, I know that's in the news a lot now, elderly parents, and we're going to do a show about this. And they just feel so upset about that. And then sometimes they do have these mood swings, or they do come out with these things that are unreasonable, and then they like to say, it is my hormones, for unreasonable behaviour. I think that's what women need to be careful of. There's a thin line, that you're not going to cross.
I agree with that. It's very difficult, because it's not something. For me, I've never really had the urge to become a right cow, like you said earlier on. But for me, it's just, and the people that I know, the women that I know who are menopausal, it's something to do with how you feel and your mental state of mind. I haven't become aggressive or overly aggressive, or it's just that I've come to the point dealing with this now that I can't deal with other people's issues. And I can't deal, because I have so much going on up there
in your own head.
In my own head, I just can't deal with your trivial issues. And if the issues are trivial, I'm just going to cut you off.
And I like that, because for instance, Verena has obviously set a line that she's not going to cross. Because the truth is, you're having your battlefield in your mind. Doesn't mean that I need to be in the battle with you. You see what I mean? That's the point. And that's it. And because that's what it is to be different. We're talking about being different kind of women. The fact is, everybody's going to go through this at some point in their life. Women, we're all going to go through this, but we need to make a decision. Because again, when you're on your period pains, it's not like the menopause, but you're going through pain, you've got your own battle. Sometimes you don't want to be at work, sometimes you just feel like ripping everyone's head off, but you don't, because you're different. You decide, actually, I'm going to go to the toilet for a minute and just take a breather. I'm going to breathe in, I'm going to breathe out. And that's what we talked about, the coping mechanisms. Or you could decide, it's my hormones and I'm upset, and rip all the paper up and
you're going to have to, everyone around me is going to have to accept it.
And everyone has to accept, because actually they need to understand that I'm going through the menopause.
Even if you're going through it, you are still in charge you.
Self-control.
And for me, if I know I'm going to have a terrible day, I am not going to get out of bed.
For you and for everyone else.
Yes.
And the nation.
Yeah?
If I know I am going to have a terrible day and I'm going to make everybody's day a nightmare, I will stay at home, in bed, and in my room.
Yeah.
And I will write this thing out.
And you know, I loved what you said about faith, because a lot of people don't turn to faith really, and I do advise that you go to medical professionals. But one thing which is very important is that faith can actually take you through most situations, because you know the truth is your children, your friends, your manager's not always going to be there. You do have these battlefields in your mind, and the only person that could be there is actually God, and it's your faith that can help you ride this out. And you know, when you need to offload and when you feel like, do you know what, nobody understands me, because it makes you emotional as well. When you go through these hormonal, you get so emotional, sometimes you can't even see things clearly, the situation for what it is. The only person that's going to put up with that is God.
It's God, yeah, it is true.
And that is a good release for women that they should explore,
It
I
is,
think.
because, you know, as you know, my husband has got a medical background and he recognized the signs even before I did. And he supports me. And when I go through my situations, he says, "Okay, honey, you know, just calm down.
I'll just get you a cup of tea."
Yeah, that's what he does. But I tell you this, there is nothing like going to God and having a good cry about this, because I've done this many times and it helps me. I go to him and I say, I don't understand what's going on. I can't remember. I've lost my memory. I had such a good memory before. You know, I feel this and I feel that, and why is this happening and why is this not happening, you know? And I cry out, and then he comes back and he says, "Be calm."
But you know what, it's very beautiful, and there's, you know, your faith and also making boundaries. I like what you said about that, Gemma. But before you could do any of these things, you need to make a decision. You need to be able to get through those emotions, to decide that you're going to take one of these routes. And I think this is really, really important for women, to not be so clouded that let their emotions just let them become these crazy women. You kind of run away with you. Like you say, you lose your identity. You can feel like you've lost it, but you haven't, because inside you can battle through those emotions and make a decision that, you know what, I am going to sort this out one way or another.
Definitely, because tears are great. Actually, for women, tears are so releasing. It makes you feel so much better. But the truth is, there's a limit. You can cry all day, all night, and it won't solve the problem. So even after you cry, you need to have some sort of solution and make a decision to say, okay, now I've cried. Okay, now what am I going to do about it?
I think one important point that Verena said was to know who you are before this actually happens as a woman, you know, because that will make a lot of difference to your menopause.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you on the show. And to be honest with you, I'm ready. Let's do menopause, bring it on. I'm ready. No, but seriously, we spoke about a lot of things today. We had the wonderful professor on with us. And menopause is a natural state of every woman's life. We are going to go through it. And when you do go through it, you may feel like you don't know who you are. You're in this room of many emotions and everything's happening to you health-wise. And it's like, what's going on? However, just like we as women, we go through puberty, we have our periods, and you become a mother, you have children. There's a lot of painful processes and things that take place in your body that you don't understand. Menopause is the same and can also be have its effect to have even more problems, as we've seen, more negative things that come your way. But as Gemma said very rightly in the show, we are different. We are a different kind of women. And it's important that at this stage, you see this stage as a positive thing. Why do I say that? In every stage that we go through in life, there's something good that will come out of it. And if you've been a mother, or if you've been a career woman, or if you've been fighting for other people your whole life as a woman, this is your body's way of saying it is all about you now. It's good what Verena said. I don't have time to take on anyone else. That's right. It's your time, lady out there going through this, for you to focus on yourself. Your body's saying, hey, you've done everything for everyone else now. It's all about time you focus on yourself. And maybe that's God's way of saying that to you too. Who knows? But whatever it is, take it as a positive thing. This is a new transition in your life, and after it, a greater woman will be born. That happens with every stage that we go through. That's right, we're different kind of women, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.